Hello, my name's Frank, and I'm the silly sausage that's gone and put Sudoku on a Nextion. I know, why put it on a Nextion? You can get it in a newspaper, online, in magazines, on your computer, your tablet, or even your phone. I've done a really pointless thing. Well, I did it because I had one, left over from a feasibility study I did a few years back. So I was quite familiar with its capabilities and its instruction set and its foibles, and there's quite a few of those. And I thought it would be a good challenge to get stuck into, and it proved to be that. I kept on, scrubbing out and doing it again, so there's quite a few reiterations to get to where I am. I was trying like text boxes in array and number boxes in buttons and dual state buttons in array, etc. But in the end I've come back to buttons, and I've started using those. Now, what twigged my thoughts on this was in the instruction set there was the square brackets, the array command, and that's it, power 2.29, 2.29 I think, and that shows an array of pages. Why pages? Couldn't think. An array of components, that's the buttons and things on the screen. Now that's just what I wanted really, because we need a 9x9 array for the Nextion to begin with. So that's what I did. I got stuck into that, and now I've got a fairly good game on the Nextion of Sudoku, and it's got plenty of sort of help buttons and niceties to help you solve the game. And of course you can store them on SD card, and when you power off, if you haven't finished, it goes to the EEPROM and stores them there temporarily, etc. And it is very good. I'm quite pleased with it, but I'm putting it out there because I'm not thinking that there'd be many people that would want to put Sudoku on a Nextion for any good reason. I can't think of a good reason, but I think more people would be interested in how I've done it than what I've done, if you see what I mean. So I want to show you how I've done, but just to say that this is just the Nextion. There's nothing on the serial bus. There's no Arduino, no computer, no microprocessor on there. It's just the capability of the Nextion on its own. And another thing I want to say is that I'm not sponsored for any of this by anybody, so not whatsoever, none at all. So we'll make a start on that, and first I'll show you the Nextion unit itself, because I've done a few little bits of electronics on there to power it up from a power pack, and that's in an old case, I know, but I'll show you on that. Then I'll cut across to the debug screen on the Nextion editor, because it's easier to see and it's better to point things out with the mouse cursor than my big finger. So let's make a start. Right. Here's the back of the Nextion. It's a NX8048P070. Is it? Yeah, something like that. Anyways, this is the power input. So we've got ground and 5-volt supply, and also the serial input-output from the device coming across from this board over here. And this board has just got a push button mounted on it with a relay contact across it, and the relay is driven by a FET, which is driven by a GPIO pin on this piece of wire. Now when you push the button, the unit powers up, and one of the first things it does is to make that IO pin high, which energizes the FET, energizes the relay, contacts go across the button and keeps the thing alive. Now the beauty of that is that it's put on by a manual switch and turned off by a software switch on the front of the Nextion. And there you can actually get it to do things before it powers down, like save it, things like that. So that's a technique. Of course, there's a little speaker up here as well to make bangs, squeaks and whistles on the way. and I'm powering that from a little power unit at the moment, and in this old leftover case I've got, so I'll put it back together and try and show you what I've got there. Get on. There we are. Right. So it might have a bit of aliasing on here. So push your finger on the button and hold it, and up will come the game. Right, here we are on the Nextion editor debug screen. I've moved across here from the actual unit because it's easier to see, basically. So first of all, I've run the emulator, and I will go and fetch a game from the easy directory, which becomes evident there, just choices of hardness, and I will select this game. Now you can see it's loading rather pedestrianly, quite slow. That's because it's doing a lot of work behind each cell, and this is a bit quicker than the actual Nextion unit. So when it's putting in a clue there, it puts the clue in and then looks along the row at all the other vacant cells on the other page, I must admit, page 1, and looks for the candidates on there. And if it sees the same digit, it will remove it and put a dash there and increment the 4th character on the 3rd line, which I will explain a bit later. And when it's done all those in that row, it will do that column, and when it's done that, it will do the box that it's in. So there's quite a lot of recording, if you like, behind each entry, so that's why it's quite slow. So there's some niceties on here already. I don't know what else to call them, but if you click on one of the digits, you'll see that every digit of the same type on that page, this one in this case, turns blue. Now these are to help you understand what you need to do. Well, let's explain a few things. These little boxes are called cells, and this is a block, a 3x3 block. Now each 3x3 block has got to have all the numbers 1 to 9 in it somewhere. So these are the clues of some of the numbers. The rest you've got to find, and each box is virtually different by some respect or other, but they've all got to have all the numbers 1 to 9, and each row all the way down there, or column and row, have all got to have the numbers 1 to 9 with no repeats. So that's the heart of the game. Now you can see that this block down here hasn't got a number 1 in it. It's got to have a number 1 somewhere. So it can't be in that column, and it can't be in that column. So it must be in this column, and the only place it can go is there. So we've put the number in, and it's still highlighting it the same. So there we go. Now across here we could do similar, but you can see that there's 2 possible places there, so we'll have to do a bit more solving before we can say what they are. So let's have a look at 2, and we can see that the same applies for the row, because this box needs a 2, and it can't go in that row, and it can't go in that row, so it must go in that row, so it put a 2 there. And now we've done that, we can see that this block's down here needs a 2, and it can't be in that column, and it can't be in that column, so it must be in that column. So you can work your way around and fill lots of things up by doing that. So we've got 3 characters we've entered at the moment. So now then, there's another nicety. If you select a square, as you can see, you put number in it, but you can't put illegal numbers in there. Like, we've used a 2, so you can't put it in there, so it flashes and gives you a bit of a click in the speaker for it. And the same for 6, same for 3, same for 7, 5. But there's only a few numbers that can be legal candidates, good candidates, and that's a 1, because there's no 1 in that row, no 1 in that column, no 1 in that box, and the same holds true for 4 and 8. So let's select one of them. Now it's just said, oh, there's something wrong in my ear, but I doubt if you heard it. So that's turned up as a dead cell and it's blacked off. And it's a dead cell because you couldn't put any number in there at all now, because there's a 1 in that row. There's a 2 in that column, 4, 3, 2, 6, 8, 7, 9. Yep, you can't put anything there. So that number was incorrect. That was the wrong choice. It was illegal, but it was still the wrong choice. So all we can do now is to remove it. Now, removing is done by a slide column, and I'll go and show you that now. So if I go to the set page, and though this isn't a button, if you hold one finger of one hand on that square, text square, and place the finger of another hand on there, it will produce this panel. View the engineering buttons. Now you notice I clicked up there on something up in the corner, which I need to take out before I sort of publish it or get rid of it or put it out, because I've only got one mouse. I might have had 2 fingers, but I've only got one mouse, so that's why I had to do it. So we turn that on and return to this page, and you can see there now that a small picture of the micro SD card is pulled up and this engineering panel. So I click on the engineering panel, and there's the array, and you can see there's the 4th character on the 3rd line is a 6, because there's 6 dashes in that square, and the one we were looking at also had 6 squares on it, and down here it was 8 dashes on there, so it was only a 4. So when we put a 4 there, that became a dead cell. That moved to 9, in other words, dead cell. Now when we come to remove it, it was quite easy, because it was the last I have already removed it. I have done down there. Yeah, it's already gone. But what we do, we say this is a slider, STL, and it's very handy because you can have a long list of numbers that wouldn't fit on the page, but it will fit in this slider, and you can go and inspect what they are. So the first digit is the row, and the second digit is the column, and the 3rd digit is the actual number that goes in it. So you can see row 1, 8, 5 is digit 8, and row 8 is 6, etc. And the last one down here is 999, which is row 9, column 9, digit 9. Now these take up 5 bytes to store, because there's a carriage return line feed after each one of them, and this box down here is the number of bytes used, so it's 5 bytes for every entry, and you can see there's 5 bytes for every entry up here. So the delete mechanism is to move to a copy all the digits, all the entries right up to just before the one you want to remove to another variable. Then all the places after the one you want to get rid of, copy it to that variable, then clear this down and copy everything back. It's a bit laborious, but it gets there, and of course then it just repaints everything on the screen. So I've shown you that. So where do we go from here? So I'll show you some more niceties that you can turn on. The first one, it says show candidates of the selected cell. So when we go across here now, we've got this little question mark button. So what we need to do is to select a cell, and there I'm holding the button now at the moment. You can see the 1, 4 and 8 that we selected in that square, and if we move down there you can see that we've only got the 4. Now if there's only one character in a cell, then it must be that number. You can't get away from that, so we got to make that a 4. So up here now, that 4 has disappeared and we're left with a 1 and an 8. So that's how that is. And of course we can move that around and see what characters we've got. There's another single cell candidate there, so that's got to be an 8. Now I might be a bit laborious, so I put in another function there which is show all cells. And when we push that button, we've got this bigger question mark. And if we hold our finger on that, it shows the candidates for every cell. And that's copied from the page 1 that I've just shown you. And that's useful because you can see again that there's still single cells lurking about that we could fill in. Now, I've also put a function in for that. It's not... it doesn't work. I've tried to frig it, but it doesn't show up because most of these functions are meant to be set before you load a game, if you see what I mean, and then they will work correctly, but at the moment it's not. So what I need to do is to find, say, there's a single cell candidate. It's got to be a 9. Now when I put a 9 in there, I've got to select it, haven't I? Put a 9 in there. It's found these hidden cells. They're single cell candidates really, but they're forced candidates. It's just the one. They're forced. They've got to be, so they're forced into being selected, if you like. So you can just wander around, select those, put the number in, and in doing so, you provoked some further back before that number and some after that number, so you've got to be a bit careful. So I thought I can put a routine in to do that, so I did, and there it is, autofill. So I've selected that one, and now I've got this autofill button. Now when you click that, it traverses each row in turn, moving down top to bottom, and when it finds a single cell candidate, it will make that cell that number. Of course, anything before it will be made a single cell, highlighted in green, or after it, so it tends to sprinkle things around. So let's do a few autofills to see what I mean. Here we go. There. So I'll leave it there, but if you kept going it would solve this particular game because it's very easy, and I haven't found any sort of problems with it. But there's just one more nicety I'd like to show you back on the page. Show colored cells. So we'll turn that on and come back, and there we are. We've got these boxes, and what they are is you can select a box and make it a colored one, and these are just sort of to help you visualize your way around the very complicated games where you have to deduce what the solve is in particular cells, and that's for very hard games and harder games still. But you can remove them by just clicking the X. So there we go. I will jump out of this now and show you some of the moves around. There is M10. That is a hotspot. H for hotspot, M for okay. In there we have what have we got? Oh, I've moved that out somewhere. Yeah, let's go up to settings and then refresh the layout. There we are. I'm familiar with it now. Right. Now that hotspot is designed to go behind like a picture or something, and you can click on it and it'll do things, so it's handy. But it never shows up on the debug, and it never shows up on the Nextion, but it's there, and you've got a touch and release mechanism, and this function TSW which can turn it on and off, and I'm using that as a subroutine. A subroutine, because in the actual Nextion instructions there's no such thing as a subroutine or go to or go sub or skip or anything. They're just expecting sort of linear code, which is quite normal for the intended purpose of a Nextion. but if you're sort of doing Sudoku or something more complicated, you will need routines, and one of these hotspots provides two, a touch and a release event. Now, unlike a button which you have to put your finger on and it runs the press, and then when you take your finger off it runs the release, this button, if you use another function called a click, it will go to that button. I'll find one for you. So yeah, there it is, M10 click, M10 sorry, click. Now there it is, and what it's doing is when you first power on this unit, you could put numbers in these cells, and you haven't decided what you're going to do with them yet until you click one of the buttons up the top. So it's a waste of time. So stop the game player doing that. You just make it all these cells untouchable in the for loop. Make it untouchable to begin with, and then when you've touched something, make it touchable again in a for loop. So that's the easy bit. Now then, you see that's M10, so I've used 11. Don't forget M0 was there, so I've used 11 of these, so I've got 22 subroutines, if you like, in use. Some of them are hidden behind there. Yeah, you could go and pull them out and spread them out, but there's an easier way. You can click on that, move this bar to the top, and you'll see just on site now we've got the page and then all the buttons we've entered for the array in sequence there, and it's very important that they are in sequence. So don't put any other buttons in at all, and always do this on a fresh page. Don't start doing the array with other buttons around, because it won't be the right IDs. So when you're like that, you can just use your keyboard, press M, and you'll see it's gone to M0, M1, and you can go all the way through to M10, and back to M0, and then M1. And you can hit return on that, and there's the M1. There's quite a bit of code behind M1, and I'll show you what that does in a minute. But that's the way to find it. Now, there's another question. The editor, as such, has not got a find or search for any code. Even these undo and redo only activate on graphical things. They don't operate on textual things, so be warned. Now then, I need to find out where M1 is being called from. So how do I go about that? Well, I need to find clicks. There's nowhere to find clicks. So what I can do is to go across to the attributes and put something on the end of M1, like an X. Do a carriage return line feed, mind, that's important. Now you think, well, how's that going to help? Well, if you go now to the debug and run the debug, you see it's produced all these errors, the invalid code, because it's been looking for M1 and M1 end of string or something, but it hasn't found it because I've got M1X there now. So if I click on that, and it takes me to somewhere where it's got M1, 1. All right, you can't distinguish between the press and release functions, but at least it's found the click. Now, where has it found it? It's found it in button B19 on this page, because it only searches on this page in any case for the error. And there it is. It's the delete button. Now, the next one, yep, is somewhere else on the delete event. And a bit further down, it's hotspot M0, M3, M4. So it's being called from other subroutines, which isn't unusual, but I just let you know that it's possible. So there we go, and that's an easy way to find things. Now then, let's show you how this array is generated next. So I'll increase the magnification factor. So move that slider across and up. Now this shows the whole array. Even these little squares are of the array. That's the first one you put on the page. There's got to be nothing else on the page before you put that one in, and it's that button. You'll see I've just selected it and it's got an ID of 1. Now you make all those little squares small numbers and put them out of the way at the moment, and you line them up. And there's one hidden there. It's got a question mark in it because that one is ID 9, so that one will be ID 10. Right? Now the one after that you enter will be that one, ID 11. I know it says B10, but it's ID 11. Now that's the one we want because we want row 1, column 1. So the next one will be row 1, column 2, row 1, column 3, etc. So that's exactly what we want. Now when we get to the end of that row, we got row 1, column 9, and that one be ID 20, which we don't want. So I've made it small again and put that in there. Now when you've got that complete row done in the large layout with this font in and everything to suit, you can copy that and down to the next one, but you must have that one on board as well, otherwise it screws it up. So you get right down to the bottom and you've got B98, which is in fact ID 99, and it goes on to ID 10. So that's how that's done. Now there's a little bit of a problem with these in that the cell itself of the array is 48 by 48 pixels wide on the Nextion. Now on this screen it depends on the magnification factor you've got up there. I tried to put that back to 1:1, and it's done some scaling factors to suit this screen. Now at 1:1 it should be as near as damn it, but you can find it will copy sort of 2 rows down, and the third row is some discrepancies on the end and you have to adjust it. So even if you lock it, it still gets wrong. It's the sort of rounding up and rounding down business that it will be needed with the magnification. But if you can get it looking right on the magnification 0, when you get it onto the debug screen, if it still looks nice there, then it will probably look very nice on the unit itself when you upload it. But I don't guarantee or anything like that. So yeah, that's how that's done. Now another thing, when you've got those 3 cells in there, you can line them to the top, spread them out evenly, and then use this command to bring the spacing closer, and they will go closer and closer, and they will just butt edge. And when they're butt edge, it won't go any more, which is nice. So you can copy that block to there, and then move them with the cursor as best you can, and then move them with the mouse. Move them with the mouse to where they are. Then use the cursor to get them exactly and get them looking nice, because with the cursor keys you can overlap them. So be warned, but get them just looking the same as the other vertical squares, and then come out by 3, because I've left 3 pixels in that column and that column and that row for black lines, which you have to put in on the page command, which I'll quickly show you down here. When I find them, there they are, line, and that's the XY start, XY finish, and the color back. Take no notice of these numbers because it will just depend on where you've put them, and you have to be pretty precise to copy mine. This was a bit of a problem. You see I've clicked on the cell there, and that's the code behind it. Now all the code is the same apart from this top line, and it's where a variable VA is made the ID of the button you've just clicked, which is 13. So all those were copied across, but you had to go into each cell and change it. You see, I've got B13.id, that works, and B14.id, or there I've just got a literal 13. I was looking for something that would say, this is the button you've just clicked, and put that in there. Couldn't find it. I did at one time think that brackets.id and a bracket, square brackets would do it, but it doesn't. And all combinations like that didn't work. I even tried looking at this TouchCap, but I couldn't work out how I could use it. And I tried a few things and it didn't work. But when I eventually started clicking on this touch button, I expected something to turn up here, and it didn't. And I was confused, and I thought, oh, I didn't press it, let's do it again, So I pressed it again. And then I noticed it was coming up over here, and if I clicked on that, it was coming up in the file here. So I thought, hello, it's there. We've already got TC0 up there, let's take those out. And I couldn't find any way of deleting them. Of course, what happened, and I found this out a bit later, was they were being entered on along with the variables on that line. There's no component there, though it had a press function and a release function. So these were not wanted. So I had to delete them, like I'm doing now. So that left me with just the TC1, and in TC1 I had touch event and press event, and the text write-up says something about val TC0.val would change to the number of the item that you clicked on. I'll use that, but it doesn't work like that. So what I've had to do is to copy the code from there to TC0 and change that. And I've done that everywhere, and I'll go and find that game and show you it. No, I don't want to say that. So there it is, 21. Yeah. Now so here we are. I've loaded up the new game. There's no code behind any of these cells whatsoever. It's all in TC0 up here. And I've got a little check there to stop it sort of lighting up on any other buttons, if you like. I'm just checking that TC0.val is greater than or equal to 11, or TC-val is less than 99 there. So that's the ID value, which is okay. Now this works fine, and to show you I'll have to load a game. Oh, let's do a debug first. It ain't going to work otherwise. I'll load a game from the easy directory, and I'll load the one that we've used before. Let that load up a minute. You can see that's working fine. It's indexing those cells lovely, and these clicks that I'm putting in are all working. So this is a very good use of the array command and the TouchCap. I want to keep on saying TopCap, but that's just my age, I think. There we go. Right, there we go. That's finished my article, really. I could do it in a lot more detail, but thanks for putting up with my bumbling, and I hope it wasn't too difficult for you. Now, the array functions are very powerful if you've got an array, obviously, but they're not much use if you've just got one or two buttons. And likewise for the TouchCap. The TouchCap's quite powerful, and you can put all the code behind every button in the TouchCap, as long as they're in like for next loops or in a if statement or something, just to separate them out. But Yeah, it's quite powerful. At least that would give you all the code for that page in one place, if you know what I mean, rather than have to skip around and find this, that and the other. But if you did it on a complex page like the Sudoku, I think there lies the root for a lot of brain scratching in the end, if you know what I mean, because it could be a bit of a brain strain, I think. Now, I did laugh the other day. I thought I'd Google Nextion TouchCap just to see what it said, and it said, oh, you can put this on the page and adjust the size and its location. I thought, there's artificial intelligence there, taking a step too far. But there we go. Now you know what it does. I hope you find it useful, and if you like this sketch, give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to know any more, get in contact. And that's it for today, and thank you very much.